Go live. Okay, welcome to council and on this rainy day. And before we begin, we acknowledge that we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples in the Williams and Huron-Robinson Treaties area. We recognize the long history of First Nations and Métis peoples on this land and show respect to them today. We acknowledge our neighbors, the Wata Mohawks and the First Nations of Moose Deer, Shawniga, Wasauksing, Magnetawan, Henley Inlet, Nipissing, and the Dokis. As we are learning from our First Nation partners of the Wasauksing First Nation, I want to stress the importance of all of us accepting our responsibility to take care of Mother Earth, her plants, her animals, and our shared peoples. We look to each other and the elders of both nations as a source of inspiration, guidance, and the living memory of our communities. We have much to learn about the stewardship of our planet to ensure that the decisions we make today will take into consideration the future of our children and that of our children's children. As settlers, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank all of the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. And we begin our learning journey today. So I will call this meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda. In addition to the agenda, you received a large addendum package today and 2 items to be added to the item 8 in business. So with those 3 changes, can I have the acceptance of the agenda? Thank you. And is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? No, I see none. So we move on to the motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the regular and closed session meetings of council held on October 16th, 2023 as circulated. Could I have a motion? Ken, and seconded by Greg. All in favor? And we had a special meeting of council as well. So we have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the minutes of the special meeting of council held on October 23rd, 2023 as circulated. Could I have a motion? Mario and Greg, all in favor. Thank you. So I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adjourn the regular meeting to hold a public meeting for the following matters. Consent application number B 2023-0016-H for Wilkinson and Dunlop, and consent applications number B 2023-0012-F and B 2023-0019-F for McCabe. Could I have a motion to that effect, Gail? And seconded by Ted. All in favor of moving into the public meeting? Thank you. Council will now hold public meetings for proposed consent applications. In accordance with the Planning Act, Council will consider all matters placed before it prior to granting a consent. If a person or public body who files an appeal of a decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin in respect of a proposed consent does not make written submissions to the council before it provides or refuses to provide a provisional consent, the Ontario Land Tribunal may dismiss the appeal. No one other than the prescribed persons may appeal an application under the provisions of the Planning Act. If they do not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin prior to the decision of council, then the Ontario Land Tribunal may dismiss the appeal. The purpose of consent application number B 2023-0016-H for Wilkinson and Dunlop is to create one new lot on Lake Joseph. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which notice of that meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property, posting on the township's website, and by regular mail on October 23rd, 2023. Notice was therefore considered provided in accordance with requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to this application?
No correspondence has been received.
Is there anyone present in person in the council chambers who wishes to speak of, in favor of, or in opposition to this application? Nope. Has anyone registered to speak to this application by electronic participation?
No one is registered to speak to this application.
Does council have any questions? And if I do, I believe it would be Brady replying. Yep, there she is. No questions from council? Oh, Councillor Getty?
Brady, just as we move forward on this, and this is a very long, narrow island. As
Sorry, Brady. The question is, this is a very long, narrow island that we're looking to sever. Is there any requirement for site plan control prior to any redevelopment on that island, or?
Through you, your worship, I believe that there is no requirement at this point for site plan control. However, we do have a condition that is attached to the consent approval to incorporate the recommendations that were within the report done by Riverstone. And that's to implement their recommendations for development within the first 20 meters and vegetation removal and a few other requirements. So that would be listed in Schedule A of the report.
Thank you. And I did see that, but there was a 3-page attachment in regards to blasting requirements. So my concern was at the end of the report, the last 3 pages spoke about requirements for blasting. So I'm wondering if there is already an intent to blast in any redevelopment of that island at this point.
No, there is no intent to develop the island at this point.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And although it looks like a little island, it is an enormous island with, I don't know, Terry, 25 cottages on it. It's well developed. Yoho's got a lot of property on it. Oh, that's it. No further questions. We move on. The purpose of consent application numbers B 2023-0012-F and B 2023-0019-F for McCabe is to create one new lot on Murdoch Lake and to grant a right-of-way over the proposed severed lands to benefit the proposed retained lands. I now ask the clerk to state the method by which notice of the meeting was provided and the dates on which that notice was provided.
Notice of the public meeting was provided by posting the property, posting on the Township of Seguin's website, and by regular mail on October 23rd, 2023. Notice was therefore considered to provide in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act.
Has the township received any correspondence with respect to these applications?
No correspondence has been received.
Is there anyone present in the council chambers who wishes to speak of, in favor of, or in opposition to these applications? No. Has anyone registered to speak to these applications via electronic participation?
Jeremy McCabe, the applicant, has registered to speak to these applications and is present via Zoom.
Okay. Brady, do you have anything to explain on this before we ask Mr. McCabe to?
No further comments on this one. This is just a proposed severance to separate the existing primary uses that are on the subject lands. No new development is proposed, and I'm here to answer any questions if there are any.
Does council have any questions? Councillor Collins?
yes,
we all know that this particular lake is oversensitive and over threshold and highly sensitive. And it's got a carrying capacity. So my question is, or my concern would be, the proposed severed lot will be another lot, waterfront lot on Murdoch Lake. And we know that since it is oversensitive, that he will not be able to build on this lot. And my concern is, why would you sever a lot if you can't build on it? And we've already, our bylaw has been challenged in the past. We've gone to the Ontario Land Tribunal, spent thousands of taxpayers' money, and won. So this is this has been written in stone now that our bylaw has been approved. So if he goes to want to in the future build on it, he won't be able to. So I don't know if you knew that or not, but this is something that it's a concern of mine, because I wouldn't want to be the messenger of bad news. That's all.
Go ahead,
Through you-
Brady.
Through you, your worship. So there are two primary uses that exist on the property today. So the application would just separate those two uses into individual parcels. There is an option for a zoning bylaw amendment, and that would be to rezone the lands to permit development as it exists today. So in other words, no new development would be permitted. There is an option for a zoning bylaw amendment, and staff can speak with the applicant and the agent before we prepare a recommendation, if that is an option that council would like to look into.
And the proposed right of way, once that's initiated, that forms, doesn't it form another piece of property to the, well, on my screen it'd be the north, but it could be the east? Is that automatically?
No, there would not be a new property created for that right of way.
Or
application.
another
It'd
lot?
just be-
No?
No, it'd just be deeded access for these severed lands, as there would be, they'd be traversing over the retained lands.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Brady.
Mr. McCabe, do you have something to add?
I apologize. I did have a little bit of connectivity issues, so I missed some of those concerns. Where it kind of, excuse me, where it had cut out for me, there was just when the counselor was speaking in regard to building on the proposed severed property, and I'm not sure if Brady had commented in regard to that there is already an existing building on it. I didn't hear that part because I lost connection.
Brady, do you want to summarize for Mr. McCabe?
Yes, Mr. McCabe, I just had mentioned to council that there are two existing primary uses on the property. So the application seeks to separate the uses that exist today into two individual parcels.
Councillor Bazinski.
Thank you. This is just another example of really why we have to get our official plan in order, because on the review of the existing official plan, there was concerns by many lake associations that what's happening is because Murdoch Lake is considered a small lake, it doesn't fall under the recreational carrying capacity requirements. And so there's a loophole to create a new lot. And so this is what's happening, and there's nothing that we can do because that's the existing policy in the official plan. Hopefully on the new plan, it will be changed according to the wishes of all the lake associations and others who commented on it. But at this point, I don't think there's any way to stop the lot creation. You can put some requirements on it, as Brady has suggested.
Thank you very much. I think we're trying to address lots of those things in the new official plan. And at this stage, Brady, I think you're hearing council make sure that the conditions are there as the lot is actually severed. Do you have anything else to add, Mr. McCabe?
Not at this time, other than thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. So I have a motion that the public meeting held for the following matters is hereby closed and the regular meeting is hereby reconvened. Could I have a motion to that effect? Greg? And Ken, all in favor? And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby grant provisional approval to consent application number B 2023-0016-H for Wilkinson and Dunlop, subject to the conditions set out in the decision. Could I have a motion to that effect? Gail? Ken? All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we're just going to take a moment to electrically connect with the delegations, but I think Tammy and JJ Blower are here from the District Social Services Admin Board. And are you getting you're getting their slides ready? Okay. And when you speak, if you would speak, push the little button to light the green light.
Sure.
Welcome.
She knows this by heart now, so. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for having us here today. My name is Tammy McKenzie, and I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for the District of Parry Sound Social Services Administration Board. And with me today, I'm joined by JJ Blower, who's our Communications Officer, who I believe is familiar to most of you. So, our goal today is to provide you with a high-level overview of the DSAB and share information about our programs and services so that you can take back to your staff and residents, and for those who are assisting and seeking social services. Give everyone a better understanding of what we do. DSAB stands for District Social Services Administration Board. These are special agents created by the province and given the responsibilities to deliver social services within their community. There are currently 10 DSABs designated as service managers to provide social services to municipalities and unincorporated territories, where there is no existing municipal government with the legal jurisdiction as to act as a service manager. In 2021, we completed the process of developing our 5-year strategic plan, which will help guide us into 2026. This 5-year strategic plan is the result of extensive consultations that took place between May and September of that year. Its development involved obtaining feedback from municipal CAOs, DSAB staff, the public, the community, and service partners in the district. It also included feedback from all 15 members of our DSAB board who represent the 22 municipalities and unincorporated areas that make up the entire district of Parry Sound. Through that process, we recognized that our vision is to create a community where people know they are valued, belong, and have opportunity and purpose. The plan also identified that our mission over the next 5 years will be to foster healthier communities by economically providing caring human services that empower and enable the people we serve to improve their quality of life. In our efforts to meet these ideals, we offer several overarching programs. We offer children's services, housing services, income support and stability, or you might know it as Ontario Works, and that also includes our homeless prevention program, and our violence against women program, which includes accommodation and outreach. And I'll speak more to each of these in depth in a few moments. This chart gives you an idea of how we are funded. As per our 2023 budget report, we are funded primarily through the province of Ontario at 73%. The municipal levy contributes 19%, and 8% comes from user fees and grants. As you can see from this map, we cover a large geographical area of about 9,113 square kilometers, bordering on the district of Muskoka to the south and Sudbury and Nipissing to the north. Someone recently told me that we are about the size of Jamaica, and after today, our weather's not the same as Jamaica. So in 2021, the population of the district was 46,909 people, representing an increase of 9.5% over the 2016 census. So we've grown some. The District of Parry Sound Social Services Admin Board, and going forward, I will just say the DSAB, is a corporation that was formed by the DSAB Act in February of 1999. Each DSAB is governed by a board consisting of a mix of municipal representatives and individuals in the two most. As you can see, the board is represented by municipalities and unincorporated areas within the geographical area of the district and through the appointment of 15 board members. Our board can change each municipal election. In this term, we have a mix of new and returning members on our current board. And as you are fully aware, Seguin has 2 representatives, Councillor Finson and Councillor Collins, who are on my right. And they've been long-standing members, quite a few terms, I do believe. Early last year, our Ontario Works and Housing Stability teams were unified into one team under the Division of Income Support and Stability, with their primary goal being to fully support human services integration, and we are striving for a no wrong door approach. The Ontario Works program provides financial, employment, and stability supports to assist individuals with their basic needs and accommodation while focusing on obtaining paid employment. Our staff support clients to access financial benefits available through the Ontario Works program, and we support with connections to health, housing, childcare, education, training, and employment. Our homeless prevention program supports those who are experiencing homelessness to obtain and retain their housing and helps those at risk of homelessness remain housed. A person at risk of homelessness can include a person facing eviction, disconnection of utilities, or living in an unsafe or unaffordable accommodations. A person who is experiencing homelessness may include someone staying at an emergency shelter, in their car, or someone who is couch surfing with friends or family. On the east side of the district, our Ontario Works Department recently purchased a van so that staff can meet service users where they are rather than requiring them to find transportation to our office. This has been hugely successful for our service users, as most are living in rural areas with no access to public transportation. And I know you're fully versed on the transportation issue. Councillor Finson and I worked on that a couple of years ago. And just to note that we've had a van on the west side over here for many years that we use to meet clients. So this was something new we added to the east side. Discussions continue to happen with our ODSP offices to both the south and the north of us regarding joint protocols, supporting the maintenance of healthy partnerships between offices. So most of our residents don't know we don't have an ODSP office in our district. So our clients need to go south or north if they need to see their ODSP office in person. Another collaborative initiative we are pleased to be part of is our continued partnership with the West Parry Sound Health Center on the collaborative mental health hub that interconnects the hospital with community and social services. Through this initiative and our existing partnership with the West Parry Sound Health Center, the DSAB has a mental health and addictions professional assigned specifically to support those accessing social services. This initiative actively breaks down the silos between mental health care and other programs and ensures that our community's most vulnerable people have access to timely wraparound supports and care. And that's been very successful over the past couple of years. On September 15th, 2021, we conducted the homelessness enumeration, which was a count completed in partnership with other service agencies throughout the community. So this was called a PIT count, which is a point in time count, which happened on one day. So we were mandated by the province to count all folks that were homeless on one particular day, which happened to be September 15th of 2021. So you can imagine the amount of human resource power that took in one day. So we are lucky that we have some great partnerships within the community that were able to support us to do that. So the data collected through the homeless enumeration is typically used for a variety of purposes, such as raising public awareness, applying for program funding and grants, and informing current and future policy and program design around all levels of government. In March of 2021, the province released the service manager guidelines, which directed all service managers, so us, to implement a by name list. So a by name list is a real-time list of people experiencing homelessness across the service manager area that can connect people to services and supports that they need and create a foundation for a better service coordination. This list provides a more standardized approach for assessment and referral protocols to support people experiencing homelessness by matching them to services and the supports that they need. Like other service managers, we now have this by names list in place, and it helps us understand our homelessness, track changes in service needs, and coordinate and prioritize service delivery in our communities. Our by name list is kept up to date in real time and provides data on the inflows and outflows of homelessness. The list includes identified individuals and families who are actively experiencing homelessness and have provided consent to be on the list. So you have to give us consent to put your name on the list. So the by names list as of the end of October 27th, so when we did this up last week, there was 89 active people on our by names list. And since we instituted the list, we've housed 191 people. 42.7% on the list are what we would identify as chronic homeless, which means they've been homeless for longer than 6 months. 35% of them are 55 years and older. 7% are under the age of 24. And this really jives with our data that we have from our Ontario Works program. And 46% of the people on the by names list are male and 54% identify as female. The current sleeping arrangements are 38% are couch surfing. 18% identify mental health and addiction as their biggest barrier to maintaining housing. 579 individuals or families have accessed homeless prevention financial assistance in 2022 for mortgage or rental arrears, utility arrears or disconnections, or overnight emergency accommodations. So last year, in the year of 2022, we spent a total of $274,272.80 on homeless prevention financial assistance. So just to give you a little snapshot, I asked also to pull our latest numbers for our Ontario Works. So how it does is the province rolls up the numbers, so they're always at least a month or two behind. So the latest stats we get are August. So our Ontario case load in August was 587 cases, which is a total of 963 total beneficiaries. So that's 587 files we have, but there may be 2 people on the file. There may be a mom and 3 children or a dad and 3 kids. So, but there's a total of 963 beneficiaries. And out of those 963, 308 are children. The caseload is up 3.9% so far in 2023 over 2022. And which was the caseload average in 2023 is now about 590. We're trending at about 590. 69% are single and 26 are sole support families. Those numbers are up 13.2% and 1.3% respectively. And we've seen this increasing over the past 2 years. The caseload is forecasted to be 676 next year in the 2023-24. The average time on assistance is 32 months, and 64 cases have the head of the family being under the age of 24. So 64 of those. The ODSP caseload for the district, and as just to clarify, we don't administer ODSP, but we do provide some supports to folks on ODSP. So the ODSP caseload for the district is 1,536 files with a total of 2,076 beneficiaries. Based on the population of from the 2021 census of 46,905, if we do some quick math, that means that 6.4% of the population is on social assistance in some form or fashion. So 6.4% of our population. And just to highlight, which I always do in my presentations, is there's been no OW, Ontario Works rate increase since 2018. So a single person on Ontario Works would be qualified for $733 a month. So that's what folks are living off of. Our Children's Services Department is divided into two key roles. In our role as service manager for the district, our childcare service management team provides leadership and support to our licensed childcare programs in the district. And we also administer the new CWALC, which is the Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare Program, or you might know it from the media as the $10 a day program. When I say that, everyone shakes their head. They know what that is. And we also determine eligibility for childcare fee subsidy, and we oversee the billing process for all the directly operated childcare programs. So we do a lot with regards to children in this district. We also facilitate a quality assurance program, which provides training opportunities and executes purchase of service agreements with licensed operators. And we also directly operate childcare programs, which is quite unusual for a service manager to do. But we have 4 early learning and childcare centers. We also have licensed home childcare, which we have 19 agency approved homes that we oversee. We also directly operate inclusion support services. We also have 3 early on hubs and 13 early on satellite programs. Housing services. Our housing services department also has 2 major functions. One is housing operations and the other is housing programs. I'll first speak about DSAB housing operations. The DSAB owns and operates 215 rent geared to income units, along with 27 affordable units and 25 market units, for a total of 267 homes or units. We provide assistance to our tenants to maintain healthy tenancies, along with the property management, maintenance activities that go along with being a landlord. I will speak about housing programs now, which is throughout the district, we have a mix of nonprofit and affordable housing providers that we support. In addition to the DSAB housing stock, so in addition to the 267 units that I previously spoke about, there are 135 units of nonprofit housing stock, which we do not own nor operate in the district. However, we do provide some support to them. So these 135 units are a mix of rent geared to income and market units. The DSAB is the designated housing service manager responsible for the funding and administration of community housing programs, and we oversee affordable housing projects in the District of Parry Sound. We have operating agreements in place with some nonprofit housing providers, and we are responsible for the administration of rent geared to income housing in the district, and we manage a centralized wait list for housing. We seek opportunities to create affordable housing and maintain strong working relationships with local landlords and potential developers. Our housing programs team recognizes the importance of affordable home ownership within the district. However, in the context of extreme inflation and increased demand for housing outside of major metropolitan areas, the current housing market is simply not accessible for people living on low income and fixed incomes. So we also have in the district aging nonprofit housing stock that needs repair. And the 2 board members fully know that every month I tell them that we have lots of repairs that would need to happen to ensure the longevity. And our main goal is to ensure we have no loss of units. Due to these factors, we are currently focusing our funding on necessary repairs to our nonprofit housing portfolio. Our housing portfolio is about 40 years old. So we are now end of life for a lot of the major components of housing, including roofs and foundations and sewer lines. I don't want to hear anything about plumbing or electrical. As we are also pursuing landlord engagement and increased collaboration with the private sector development in hopes of building more affordable homes and rental units throughout the district. So my team works very hard in maintaining relationships with private landlords and ensuring that we're supporting them to keep people housed in their private rental accommodations. Our Women's Services Division operates our Esprit Family Resource Center. This is where we provide a host of services, which includes emergency accommodations, and we assist women and children in the district who find themselves in crisis. Priority is given to women fleeing and leaving abusive situations. The Resource Center offers 10 emergency beds, staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We operate a 24-hour crisis phone line, and we have counselors on duty and are ready to help. We also have community relations workers that are available to assist women in identifying and accessing the supports needed to live free from violence and to establish new lives in the community. We have outreach workers available to provide non-residential counseling to women who live in the district, and we also provide accompaniment to court, legal appointments and Crown appointments, and we provide individual and group counseling. We also have a Children's Voices program, which is designed to support children up to the age of 16 heal from the effects of having witnessed violence or abuse. And you can see on the screen, that's a picture of our present day kitchen. We are now in the process of doing a pretty significant renovation of Esprit, thanks to some money we received a couple of years ago. So hopefully the next picture you see, it'll be nice bright cabinets and stainless steel countertops and more industrial type appliances to be able to support the longevity. So that's been great. It's been a long time since our shelter has had an update, and so we're very pleased to have that happen. So JJ has a couple of things, and then we have some questions.
I'm just really going to close it out for you here and wrap it up. First off, thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us here today. We recognize this has been a lot of information in a very short amount of time, so we do encourage you to stay in touch with us. Please reach out. So we do have a board meeting every month, and our board members are able to ask questions at those meetings. So I encourage you to reach out to your board member. They can bring those questions forward. We also, at those board meetings, present a monthly CAO's report, which is sent out through the board members for distribution to your municipality in your packages as well. It's usually a lengthy but very in-depth report. It has a lot of those that data that you saw earlier or that you heard about earlier today. So we encourage you to look at that. Over the last couple of months, I've also reached out to your municipality's clerks and, in your case, Valerie, to make sure that your website was updated. So I do thank you for that. I did check today and it's on there. So thank you very much. And over the next few months still, we've been to more than half of our 22 municipalities now, and we're on a bit of a road trip. So I thank you again for your time today here. It's really important for us to get out in the community and explain what the DSAB is. I think for some people it's this big organization and don't really know exactly what it does. So I hope you have a better understanding when you go home today of what we do at the DSAB. Our website and our Facebook and our Twitter is all on this slide here. You should have that in your packages, I believe. And on the next slide, this is our contact information. So please feel free to reach out to us anytime, Tammy or myself, and we'd be happy to answer questions for you. If you had any questions, we could take them today.
Thank you very much. And I know you touch a lot of lives and a lot of people throughout a very, very large community. So for all those lives you touch and for this council, thank you very much, because I know you make a difference. Council, do you have any questions for either Tammy or JJ? Nope. I must mean that our counselors are keeping us well informed.
Very good. Thank you.
So well, money talks, but I know you make a difference in a lot of lives throughout the community. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you for your support.
I will be leaving some brochures here. I'll leave them at the front desk
Okay.
maybe with your staff, just for people coming in the front door. Hopefully that's helpful.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And very patiently waiting, I think we have Greg Mason from the Georgian Nordic Outdoor Activity Center as our next delegation. Welcome. Hello, Greg, and welcome.
Good afternoon. Thanks so much for having me here. My name is Greg Mason. Some of you will know me from Georgian Bay Biosphere, but today I'm here as the president of the Georgian Nordic Outdoor Activities Center. If you've been around long enough, you would know it as the Georgian Nordic Ski and Canoe Club. We have recently rebranded ourselves to an outdoor activities center because we feel that we are a facility for all ages in all seasons. As a facility, we've been in operation since just prior to 1984, incorporated in 1984. We're a registered charity, and our roots did start providing cross-country skiing and paddling in the community. And we've grown a lot since then. In the last 5 to 10 years, we've expanded out to hiking, dog walking, mountain biking, and really seen a visitor increase. At a core, our facility is our 40 kilometers of cross-country ski trails with an additional 25 kilometers of mountain bike, snowshoe, and winter biking trails. We're situated on 800 acres in McDougall Township, just off Highway 124, 400 of which we own, and then 400 that's accessed by Crown and treaty land relationships. We've seen our user groups expand, so we receive well over 20,000 visits per year. And since COVID, there was a definite bump during COVID, but come back down to what we consider to be a core membership that we think we can sustain of 700 members. As mentioned, our activities and our events are for a range of different users. Cross-country skiing, winter fat biking, snowshoeing for sure. Hiking and dog walking has really expanded. I think as people from the south have moved up into the area and looking for secure trails, especially where they can get their dogs out. And so now on a daily basis, we'll see 20 to 50 people access the club facilities pretty much every day of the year, which really only creates a problem when we're building trails at this time of year and trying not to drop trees on people. A big aspect of our club is youth training and competitions. So we just actually recently hosted 400 youth for a cross-country running race from our high school, but also all the high schools in the region. And then additionally, outside of our facility, we support paddling programs in the community. At a core, one of our core programs is what's called a Jackrabbit Ski program. This is for kids ages 4 to 14, 4 to 12, runs January to March, and it's completely and utterly volunteer run. Indeed, most of the coaches are high school coaches, and I was one of those high school coaches. In fact, I was one of the Jackrabbits a long, long time ago. Another key focus is around engaging youth and keeping them engaged in outdoor activities. So we get the local schools out for after-school programs. They come for races and events throughout the winter. Their teachers bring them to the facility. We have a Racing Rabbits program, and also we have a junior ski program. If you follow Winter Olympics, Graham Ritchie from the area was one of those athletes from our club. Lots of different kinds of community events that we try to run, and we just were lucky enough to get an OTF grant for a volunteer coordinator who's going to be able to expand those events and really support them year round, including nature walks, orienteering races, and expanding on adult ski lessons as an example. We are a not-for-profit. We continue to be. I would say financially in the last 10 to 15 years, we've done a very good job of managing the budget so that the core operations are entirely funded via membership and visitors. So we've not made any municipal asks in, I think, well over 15 years, something I'm really proud of. So membership, stay passes, annual donations, and then equipment rentals, like ski and bike equipment is what sustains the core of our operation. We've managed to create, and this relates to some of the next things we'll be talking about, a capital reserve fund for our facilities of $50,000. While also doing that, in the last 5 years, we've purchased adjacent lands, 18 acres, which have been valued at $50,000 as well, which contributes to our ability to implement our Trails Master Plan, which was adopted in May of this year. We are a volunteer-based club, right? From trails design, trail implementation to grooming, to all the coaching that happens. It's pretty much entirely, has been almost entirely volunteer run, with the exception of some summer staff and now very much a volunteer coordinator who just started last week. Some of the recent improvements, thanks to an Ontario Trillium Fund grant in the last couple of years, has been to implement a digital kiosk that allows people to pay day use fees in all seasons. And this was an eye opener for us. We were able to actually capture $8,000 of new day use fees, primarily in the summer season when we hadn't had daily staff there. We were able to expand on some new trails, mainly around youth-oriented trails, and also get a new outdoor washroom. What we're currently doing is expanding on our trail network, adding in increased ability to have a performance trail, which is to cater to events, and ensuring that our core trail system can shed rain better. So I don't know if you remember the heavy snow that we got, followed by the heavy rains last year. When that happens, we lose the ability to get skiers out. And so we want to be able to grade our system so we can shed rain faster and then be able to get onto our trails and groom with as little as 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. And it is possible to do that. We just need to have the proper equipment to do that. So all of this leads to where I'm at today, which is to let you know about our future fund and let you know about a small ask, that request we've made of Seguin to contribute to that. And this is really $1 million future fund. We have been generously provided with $150,000 anonymous donation. We have currently $650,000 in grants that are just moving into the phase 2 that we feel quite hopeful about. And then that leaves us with a $200,000 future fund goal, which we're going to businesses, our members and visitors, and municipalities and First Nations in making that request. What we're going to be doing with that is to construct a 1,200 square foot year-round pavilion. It can be enclosable in the wintertime, but then we can open up the garage doors so that bikers at the end of bikers and hikers can use this year-round. We don't have to staff it. It's just accessible at all times of years. But in the wintertime, we can close it in and provide expanded facilities outside of our current 1,200 square foot chalet. We also are in desperate need of a garage. The vast majority of our equipment sits outside all winter, and that leads to significant disrepair and added time for us as groomers as we thaw equipment out between grooming. So the structure that you can see in the picture there is our current garage. We have a number of containers that aren't heated, and so we want to be able to construct about 1,200 square feet of storage space. Much of that would then be heated to allow for the equipment to melt off. This is important because one of the things that we want to be able to get to is a grooming device that allows us to work the snow. So it's a tilling device that can be dragged behind a tractor or a piston bully, where we'll be able to basically break up icy snow and relay tracks. And in order to have that equipment, we basically need a garage and storage so that we can melt the snow off that equipment and keep it well maintained. I'm not really willing to invest $200,000 in equipment if we don't have proper storage for it. So this is the plan overall. And then as well, at the end of this campaign, we'll have 3 kilometers of what we call a new performance loop, which makes access of that new property, including changes in elevation, which if you're a skier and you want to actually get a good workout, you're looking for bigger hills. My eldest was out skiing on the new hill that we have. He's quite excited about this. He was out on, I don't know, like when did it snow here last week? Tuesday? Yeah, so he was out skiing in that already. So how can we help? One of the big ones is we just want to make folks aware of this campaign that we're looking at, make you aware of and be able to ask you to let others know about the facility and our future fund campaign. We have submitted a funding request via your staff for consideration in your budgeting process, I think is how it would go, of between $3,500 to $5,000. We want to keep the request to municipalities to be modest. We know that there's a recreation complex that you're looking to fund. We know that you have many other priorities as well. And if it suits your needs, we're more than happy to have any financial request that you might consider to be spread out over a number of years if that suits your budget needs. We're also catering our requests to what we know about our membership. And so to that end, we're asking more of the town of Parry Sound and McDougall and McKellar and Carling than what we would be asking of you, simply because as near as we can tell from our membership lists, there aren't as many skiers using our facility, probably from Seguin, probably because of the distance up to 9 Mile Lake Road. But I can tell you that there are residents from Seguin. We figure roughly 10 to 15% of our members actually reside from Seguin. And we've just actually added a new thing within our membership database to find out which municipality people are either residing in or cottaging in. And because postal codes don't tell you that, but I'm not telling anything that you don't know. So again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your interest in recreation. If at any time you wanted to come out and tour our trails and have a look at what we're doing, you're more than welcome. You can give me an email and I'd be happy to take you out and show you. I do recommend it in the wintertime, but we're actively working on trails right now. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Greg. It is an incredible facility. And I had the privilege last year of showing it off to some people from Canmore.
Hey,
Who
right on.
kind of went, oh my goodness, you have some stuff almost as good as Canmore. And Canmore got theirs through the Olympics.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
congratulations. Council, do you have any questions for Greg? No, that was a great presentation. Now you mentioned that your ask has gone through the application process for the December, I think our December 1st deadline. You've done that?
I've done the paperwork and gone with that. So
Okay. Thank you very, very much, Greg, for all you do as a volunteer, as a dad, as a manager of Georgian Bay Biosphere. Thank you. It makes the community better.
all right, take care.
And now we move to Barry Ross. Are you Mr. Ross? No, you're not. Okay. They're coming in by Zoom. Okay. So these are representatives on behalf of Rankin Lake and Otter Lake that are we have to. And now we move to Barry Ross. Are you Mr. Ross? Someone on Zoom has their audio on. These are representatives on behalf of Rankin Lake and Otter Lake that are we have to. And now we move. Whoever's on screen, could you turn off your audio, please? And stop the Zoom. Stop the YouTube, not the Zoom. Audio on. These are representatives on behalf of Rankin Lake and Otter Lake to do. That are we have to. And now we move. Whoever's on screen, could you turn off your audio? Okay, so I am assuming we have Teresa Dennis. Is that you online? And Barry Ross with audio but no camera.
I think can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is that Mr. Ross?
Yeah, for some reason that's been sort of blipping in and out with respect to this camera part of it. I had it a second ago and now it's gone. So anyways, I just have the audio.
Okay, I will turn the meeting over to you. You have 10 minutes to make your delegation. The one thing I do want to clarify before you start is much of the correspondence which appears in our addendum today and was arriving over the weekend indicated that Ferris Road and Ferris Hill were not in the road study. That is not true. They were included. In fact, there's 19 mentions of them throughout the road study. So you have 10 minutes to give us your delegation, but definitely the road and the hill were included in the roads study.
If Tom is on the call, we've been emailing back and forth. Sorry, it's Barry again. And Tom is in agreement that the hill was not mentioned in the study, that the report that came out. The Ferris Road itself was mentioned. It's got a number of stretches on it, but our concern is the hill.
Just a minute. Do you expect Tom to be on the call as part of your delegation?
Tom did say that he would be on this call in the meeting.
Tom attends the meeting and he is here, but you have 10 minutes for you
Okay.
and to make your delegation.
Sounds good. So I think Teresa, you wanted to do a short introduction?
She has to turn her mic on.
You have to turn your microphone on your computer, but not the YouTube.
Right. Can you hear me?
No, we still can't hear you, Teresa. It's the microphone is on your computer or on your Zoom app.
I'm sorry, bear with me 1 second.
There you go. Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. My name is Teresa Denny's, and of course, you've met Barry Ross. We are here to represent the approximately 70 ratepayers of Ferris Road and Little Otter Lane. Barry and I would like to thank Council for the opportunity to speak with you regarding the roads need study as it relates to Ferris Road Hill. To show his support of our safety and liability concerns, we would now like to have our representative, Councillor Ken Adams, read our letter to Council into the minutes, I mean. Thank you, Ken.
Ken, is this the same letter that's in our package? So it doesn't need to be read in. We've all got a copy of your letter.
All right, thank you. Through you, Mayor McDermott, and to the rest of Council, the ratepayers of Ferris Road and Little Otter Lane put together a working committee in 2018 to address our concerns about the Ferris Road Hill. Our committee made a presentation to Council on July the 2nd, 2019. Our ratepayers filled the Council chambers to express our concerns regarding the safety and liability issues represented by Ferris Road Hill. Many of those same ratepayers have sent emails to Council, which are included in today's addendum package, and/or have spoken directly to Council members and staff regarding the unsafe conditions of the municipally owned Ferris Road Hill. We would like to stress that this has been a municipally owned road for over 100 years and is not a private road, as is believed by some people. There have been multiple studies and engineering reports initiated and paid for by the township to address ratepayers' concerns, but to date, there's been no movement forward on repairing or even adequately maintaining Ferris Road Hill. We are here to ensure that Council continues to recognize the safety and liability issues of Ferris Road Hill, and that Council addresses the very real issues being faced by the township and residents of the area. As for funding the project, it was determined by Council that as this is a municipal road, the Seguin staff report to Council number TR 2022-007 to include Ferris Road project as a future capital budget item in the 2023 capital forecast was passed in 2022. It was suggested that through general tax revenue and grants, funds would be set aside in 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2025 to cover this project. In 2022, Seguin Township set aside $75,000 in the infrastructure budget, which was carried forward to 2023. It is our understanding that these funds have been earmarked to cover the cost for a future land swap between a ratepayer and the township. We are aware that surveying has been or will be completed shortly to facilitate this land swap, and that these discussions are ongoing. In 2022, staff was directed to determine if there were any other funding options, such as provincial or federal grants or through the Parry Sound Biosphere. Our goal is to ensure that Ferris Road Hill funding promises remain in the budget and are added to on an annual basis as a standalone project, despite the fact that Ferris Road Hill did not make it into the road needs study as a priority. Based on the study results, it seems that the road needs were determined strictly by the number of vehicles that traverse the road rather than which roads provided safety and liability issues for township. We would like to know why the scope of work appears to not address safety as a priority in the Seguin Township. And through you, Mayor McDermott, to address your concerns about the road study, as indicated by Barry. Yes, there is mention of Ferris Road in the study, but there was no mention of Ferris Hill. and it seems to us that the problem is mostly Ferris Hill rather than Ferris Road. Through you, Mayor McDermott, and the rest of council, we'd like to thank you for hearing us today. We're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Adams. You gotta turn your microphone on, please.
I don't know if you've all been up that road. When you go through all the documents, council minutes, Ferris Hill has been on the table so many times and for so many years. Personally, I feel the hill is a safety issue for 70 ratepayers who travel the road. The road is not a private road, it's a summer maintenance municipal road. I believe all the necessary surveys, engineer reports, and land swap have been completed or near completed by the Director of Public Works to construct the road around Ferris Hill. Why not put the Ferris Hill project into a 5-year capital budget again? Putting $200,000, $250,000 away for the next 5 years, and some way come up with a solution to fix that hill.
Thank you. Any other questions? What I'm going to suggest, because there is a lot of history. Many of us have been at the table. Some of us have come and gone from the table. I think the most important thing is to turn it back to staff and ask them to update us on exactly where we are on the plans that were approved, what portions of what you've just mentioned are underway or completed, and have staff come back with a comprehensive summary of where we're at and the way it may or may not get into capital budgets. Is that something I can ask staff to do, CAO?
Your worship, we're happy to provide council with a report at your request. I have to consult with the Director of Public Works on timing, but we can make it a priority and have it back to you. I'll suggest before year end for sure, given where we are in the cycle.
No, I just feel, we need to do something with that hill. It's not the road. It's not the road below. It's not the road above. It's the hill itself. It is dangerous. And there's a lot of people that, had accidents on that hill. And to me, it should be fixed.
Councillor Bazinski.
I can remember years ago when former Councillor Moffat, who lived on that road, tried to get into the executive of the Otter Lake Ratepayers Association to use that association as leverage, and we chided him for it, but we understood the reasons, and I know he's been a strong advocate for fixing that hill, and certainly if it's dangerous, I think it should be fixed.
Thank you. Let's see what the summary is. The Roads Need study, when it talked about Ferris Road, included the hill. And some work has been done and there are some allocations, but let's get the details from staff back to us before we move on to the next step, if that's okay. Thank you very much.
Mayor, may I
Barry?
make just one more remark? It's Barry.
Sure. Go
Yes,
ahead.
I realize there seems to be some confusion with respect to the timing of this discussion as to it tying into the issuance of the Tatham report. So whether it was to be included in the Tatham report or not included in the Tatham report, we just don't want to debate that anymore. What we were, I'll say, promised when it was discussed that the Tatham report would be prepared looking at all of the roads in the township. This was in early 2022, and we were promised when the Tatham report was issued, it would be concluded with a report from the township as to now what is the future of this hill matter and the option 6 going forward, which is really just to abandon the hill and building a brand new road in another location. And when the report was issued and there was no indication as to the fulfillment of that indication that we would have that information as the ratepayers, people got very, very anxious anticipating that they would have some news about dealing with this serious safety issue, and there just seemed to be no information whatsoever. We've been scrambling the last few weeks with Township staff, Jason and Tom and others. Ken has really stepped into the breach to lead this matter for us, and we super appreciate it. And it's kind of led us to where we are today, and what prompted us to issue this letter, hoping that we can get some answers very soon to our questions as to when it's going to be dealt with. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm going to ask our Chief Administrative Officer, Jason, to respond to it, but I need to point out to you that the roads need study recommendations have not been received by council yet. We haven't received them.
I really have no comment other than we were told the report was issued and we received a copy of the report. Whether they've been received by council or not, we were tying that into when that report was being presented. It's been presented, we've seen the report, and all of a sudden everyone's scratching their head as to, well, what's happening with Ferris Hill? And that's really why we're here. So again, thank you. And that's just sort of speaking my piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Worship. We'll cover a lot of this in a report. I'm pretty confident we'll be able to. We have tons of history here to share with council members and the residents obviously affected by this particular portion of Ferris Road. I did just want to clarify for everybody's sakes that at the last meeting, the roads needs study consultant did present a draft. Primarily their presentation was on the methodology in which was used to undertake the study. It didn't get into the granular details of this road versus that road. And there was clear indication from the consultant that there was still work to be done. There was information that was raised. Councillor Collins brought up an interesting point about bus routes and et cetera that required us to go back and reevaluate some of the inputs into that study. So again, that study is, while there is a draft out there, it is a draft and it is incomplete with much more work yet to be done. I recognize, and I've had plenty of conversations with Barry and Teresa and a number of folks that live in the area there over my tenure here. And you know, the Ferris Road Hill makes up a part of the Ferris Road, and the Ferris Road was evaluated in that process as has been outlined in a number of emails, including one from Tom sent earlier today. So we will report back to council with a full rundown on where we are, what's been done, and what the pathway forward may look like. And as I said, hopefully before year end, given we're in November, we have a lot of work to do in the next 2 months, but we'll prioritize getting this back to council in short order.
Thank you very much. Any further questions? Teresa and Barry?
Thank you. No,
Thank you very
No,
much.
I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ken.
I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the staff reports as presented on the agenda for November 6, 2023 meeting of council. Could I have a motion? Mario and Ken. All in favor? Thank you. And first up, I believe, is Michelle.
Yes, good afternoon. This is our regular monthly financial update. We're projecting a slightly higher operational surplus to the end of October of about $76,000, up from $62,000. Again, we're continuing on towards the end of the year. Capital projects are just wrapping up. We plan on being able to project our carry forwards for capital, probably starting in the late November, early December financial update. And I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Any questions? Nope. Thank you very much. Good to see things going up. And I believe next on our agenda is Valerie and Forrest. And I have a motion here that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby adopt the Township of Seguin strategic plan attached as Schedule A to this resolution. Can I have a motion to put it on the table? Gail and Ted. And I believe Forrest and Valerie can bring us up to date from the last time we saw you.
You want to go first?
It doesn't matter. In large part, we've made some fairly minor tweaks to some various word choices through the various engagements. Essentially, we've made the changes that we've discussed with council, and we've heard some excellent feedback from the community based on the review of the draft as presented to council at last meeting. I think more than anything at this point, we are hoping to get council's final feedback and or progress with the document if council feels so inclined. Or we're happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from council for Forrest or Valerie? My only question is, what is the next step to, I guess, publish is the word? I don't know.
Well, I can speak to that, Anne, unless Jason, if you had something to say, but you know, further to Forrest's point, a lot of the community feedback we heard was consistent with council. And if this strategic plan draft is adopted, our next step would be to engage an external graphic designer and get to the stage of making it presentable and using professional graphic design.
Okay, go ahead, Jason.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I mean, to Valerie's point, what you have here is it's the content. It needs, obviously, we wanted to make sure that this was right and that council's comfortable with the content because this is a long-term vision document here. But so before we invested in beautifying this document and making it ready for to be published, we wanted to make sure that the content was absolutely right. So we have budget available to do this. We're not looking for any additional funds. This was included in our work plan, and we're ready if council is to take it to that next stage to put the final touches on it. But what we are looking to do is, if council's comfortable, to endorse this so that we can start to reshape and form many of our priorities around this strategic plan.
Thank you. Councillor Bazinski?
Just a comment. When I was fully engaged in environmental consulting, a lot of our work was involved with writing proposals. And there were a group that got our proposals looking like $1 million. Really didn't help us win the jobs. It was the meat and potatoes. And I think you've done a great job on the meat and potatoes. So, you know, definitely do what you think is necessary to present it properly, but keeping in mind that the key messages are what people are going to look at. So make sure not to distract with really beautiful graphics, the key messages. That would be what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe there's a few tidy pieces that go in, what mayor's message, maybe the land acknowledgement in both languages, those kinds of things need to be added. And at some point, I think a formal presentation, or not even a presentation, but more of a gift of the polished strategic plan to the Council of Wasauksing is appropriate. They are waiting to be given it as a present. So once it's ready, and I agree with Mario, we don't need to spend a whole lot of money on bells and whistles, but we do need to make it a lasting document. So I think you're hearing that council is approved. So I have a motion on the table. All in favor? Thank you. It is approved. Now you have more work to do. Thank you very, very much, though, for your leadership and where you've gotten us to today. So, thank you. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township does hereby direct staff to continue to update the official plan in accordance with the content of staff report number DPS-PL 2023-116, copy attached as Schedule A to this resolution. And Schedule A is basically what was in your agenda package. So could I have a motion to put this on the table? Mario? Seconder? Kim? And I see Taylor. Over to you, Taylor, to take us through where we land in everybody's calendar. Seems like everybody, including the minister, has their own calendar now.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is an update just on the official plan review. The last one was in the late spring, so we just thought it was timely to do another one. Last time we discussed, we thought the new provincial policy statement, or PPS, would be in effect. It is not. No one really knows when it's going to be done. So we thought that we would still continue to modify it, but maybe get some direction, assuming that the draft PPS gets approved in the last format as presented. If you go to page 4 of the staff report, there were some general ideas on what we've been doing and requesting direction on some matters, so that way we don't spend a ton of time on something that isn't in council's interest. So I'm here if there's any questions.
Council, do you have any questions on page 4 of their report, which is actually page 167 of the full agenda package? Those are some areas that Taylor is asking for council, I guess, direction or nod that we are in agreement with, headed that direction. And certainly you have my support about the settlement areas and the boundaries that you included on page 4, or for some people, page 167. Does anybody have any comments on those before he starts working them into the OP? Councillor Bazinski.
Just one comment, Taylor. We're trying to provide affordable housing, and we're all in support of this policy. And certainly there's the minister's zoning order, but that may take quite a while to come into fruition. I have always maintained that one of the easiest ways to get more affordable housing is to look at our rural roads, and we provide snow plowing in the winter, we provide grading and so on in the summer. So we already provide the services. And in the past, it's been relatively restrictive in terms of severing off rural lots on those roads. And I'm not suggesting that we don't provide good environmental consideration and so on, but I think it would be, that is a way to create reasonably priced rural lots. I mean, I remember about 5 or 6 years ago, my daughter bought a lot on Highway 141 for $30,000 and then built. So, and that's a provincial highway. So it is a way of providing a little less expensive housing than trying to locate lots on lakes and so on. So not suggesting we slash the requirements significantly, but we should really take a strong look at that in terms of affordability. Thank you.
So just for my own clarity and just to make sure that we leave here under the right context of that, your comments, Councillor Brzezinski, the section on rural lots in the staff report, you're supportive of that, is that correct? Because we are talking about removing the caps and allowing for reduced property sizes where it's appropriate.
Yes, I just wanted to reinforce.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Finson.
I would just have some concerns about the development in Rosso being that the one side of the river is not developed, and recommended by the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries that it not be developed. So as long as that settlement area is expanded with care and not expanded too far to create exactly what we don't want in that area. So I would say it would have to be done very carefully, because there's a group of people who have some kind of a fund to not develop on that other side of the river. It's been years and years. It was Andy Frame way back in the day when Andy was around, but there's still people that believe that that's still a thing. So I'm just saying it would have to be very carefully done, and it would have to be thought out thoroughly before anything went forward with it, I believe. And not too far, because that where you're looking is one piece of property, a big piece. It would have to be squished. Anyway, just as long as it's done carefully, I think it would be okay.
That's fair enough. I mean, I think any development will still have the environmental assessments and impacts, but reducing the required size of rural lots is in our best interest. Many of our younger people and even people downsizing don't need or want 2 acres. So I think you're hearing council direction to do that. And we've got a motion on the table to have you continuing to update the official plan in accordance with your staff report. So can I have a vote? All in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Taylor. And I know it's a moving target with a new minister, new PPS, new schedule of when they'll even receive official plans. It's, I was talking to some people from Muskoka, and they're pretty frustrated because they did submit theirs, and it's something like 12 months. They haven't heard boo. Go ahead.
Just for, Taylor touched on it earlier, we have no idea when the province is going to step in and say, here's the new provincial policy statement. We've heard from various consulting agencies, various developers, everything from first quarter, second quarter, 2024 to potentially as far out as 2026. So we're struggling because we want to finalize this official plan. We hear every week, we need to get that done. We need to get that done. It's not going to get done until the province does what they need to do. And so we are eagerly awaiting their update on the provincial policy statement. And as soon as they're there, we're off to the races. But just to put that in context for everybody, the timelines are everything from months to years. So we wait.
Okay, this is 7D. I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby approve the change of conditions for the provisional approval to consent application number B 2021-0021-H for sharer as sent out in the decision attached. Could I have a motion to put this on the table? Ken and Greg. And I think, Taylor, this deserves a little explanation because it's a little confusing, but if you could help ground us all in what has happened here.
Thank you, Worship. I'll do my best because you're right. This is really technical and confusing. At the basic level, though, a consent to create a new lot was appealed by a neighboring property owner. One of the conditions of that consent was sorry, I had that backwards. I even confused myself. A consent was approved by the municipality to permit a lot. It was approved and it went through. However, one of the conditions was that it had to be rezoned. That rezoning was appealed by a neighboring property owner, not allowing the consent to get finished. The property owner started getting concerned that they wouldn't have time to finalize a consent application, so they requested an amendment. It's a bit of a trick in the planning that if you do a major amendment to a severance by adding a new condition, it resets the timelines. Just as the report got finalized, it's about to get on the agenda, the OLT actually dismissed the appeal. However, the proponents still wanted this report to go through because they lost so much time and in dealing with the appeal to the zoning bylaw amendment. The applicant's agent is also here if they wanted to provide any other comments or get any questions on their end.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything to add as the agent?
Through you, Chair, my name is Vanessa Archer. I am here on behalf of the owner as the agent, TD Consulting. Just to add to Taylor's comments there, the bigger part of why we're still requesting the extension is part of the rezoning conditions is confirmation or approval of a septic on the property. And again, with the timelines and the lapse or the delay, I should say, from the appeal period, the owner had to put that on pause. And now we're kind of going into the winter months and we're hoping that we can get it done before January when the consent expires. But it just kind of gives that little additional time for them to continue on with the septic and get those conditions cleared for the zoning as well.
Councillor Collins, you have a question?
Yes.
Thank you. That was the OLT hearing. That was caused by a third-party appeal?
That is correct, to the zoning bylaw amendment.
Right. So didn't the provincial government come forward, I think in 2015, that it's no longer legal to have a third-party appeal in an OLT hearing, and that's the reason why the old OLT hearings are backlogged?
Not to zoning bylaw amendments. They did do that for minor variances and severance, but zoning bylaw amendments, official plan amendments can still be appealed by neighbors or third parties.
Thank you.
And now that the objection's been rejected by the OLT, really what you're asking for is just to keep things moving for the septic build? Is that your rationale?
Sorry, yeah, I'll jump back in there, I guess. It is in order to fulfill the conditions of consent, which is the zoning bylaw amendment. However, one of the conditions of the zoning bylaw amendment now is a septic. So they're kind of all tied into each other. So we're just asking for an extension on the consent so that that does not lapse in January. And then we haven't fulfilled all of our conditions.
Okay, thank you very much. We have a motion on the table and I think we want to facilitate this poor person that's been delayed for quite a while. All in favor? Thank you. So that is carried. Off to the races.
Thank you very much.
You are the applicant. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Oh, he'll get it when he gets out when it's raining. Thank you for attending and thank you for your patience with bureaucracy. You didn't hear that because I didn't have my microphone on. Motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby appoint Samantha Fraser to the Township of Seguin Recreation and Culture Committee. Could I have a motion to that effect? Ken and Gail? All in favor? Thank you. And now we have two items under 8 that came in the addendum package. The first is a request by the Business Committee for a 2024 annual budget of $8,000. Our budget this year was $5,000. It's in the addendum package and it's itemized. There is also, in addition to what's itemized, a request for a tourism grant through Dominique to help with tours in Seguin from the cruise ships that, if approved, has a matching piece that we would have to do. It's in your addendum. Do we have a resolution to this or is it just direction to staff?
Instruction to include in the overall budget.
Okay, so do we include it in the overall budget? And I'll remind everybody, not sure I've got my numbers exactly right, but we moved from 10 or 8 committees of council this year to 4, I think. So the overall committee structure budgets are way down, both in the 60, the per diems that we paid to all the members, the staff time and everything. And Ted and I sit on the business committee. They're tackling some big issues for businesses and making some impact. So I'm hoping it'll be approved. Can we give direction to staff to include it as long as we're still within our budget overall? The second one is 8C, and I do have a motion for this one. And this came from Canadian National Railway. So the motion is that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby authorize and direct the mayor and clerk to execute the notice of proposed installation of a road crossing warning system at Elliott House Road, mile 143.35 kilometers or miles, I don't know, on the Bala subdivision attached to this resolution, indicating the Township of Seguin does not object to the works. Could I have a motion to put this on the table? Mario? And seconded by Greg. Tom, are you there to tell us exactly where this is? It's in Foley. Yeah, well, let's ask Tom. And also, Tom, that they're not asking for any money for us. They're just going to do this? Oh,
yes.
According to Mary. It's done, is it?
That's correct. Yes, it's in Foley on Elliott House Road there. It's unsignalized or not signalized, and they're just looking to upgrade it. I've noticed, or if you remember in the past, last year, there's been a push on this area specifically to this area as in Seguin and surrounding to start upgrading safety warning lights all around. So you can tell it's being blitzed sections throughout Ontario.
Okay, thank you. So I'm assuming it's a good idea. Councillor Bazinski?
In the past, what's happened is that without a signalized crossing, and that road leads down to the municipal access point on Little Otter Lake. So it does get a fair bit of traffic, and there are also a couple of permanent residents living at that crossing. It used to be that the township would clear back a certain distance to give sight lines, but on the one side, there's a wicked curve, and I know I've crossed, and the odd time a train will be coming around that curve and you get very little warning, and you have to put the power on to get across. So it is definitely a dangerous crossing, and I think it's a very good thing that they're putting signals on it. And that will also be good for the township, because then I believe in the past, either the township cut the brush along the side of the road, or CN cut it and back charged the township. So should save us a bit of money as well, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fellner. Need your microphone.
Yeah, I know. Find the right button. Yeah, as well, I mean, that crossing is very busy in the winter with snowmobiles. So, matter of fact, there's hundreds and hundreds of snowmobiles that go across that on the weekends, I'm sure. So it's a great move. It's overdue, really. I mean, it's a wonder nobody's gotten hit there in the winter time before. So good stuff.
Okay, and it didn't come with any bill for us, I assume, Tom.
That's the best part.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor? So we move on to bylaws, which will solidify what we looked at last council meeting, basically. So I have motion that bylaw number 2023-119, being a bylaw to establish a tariff of rates for various services related to the operation and maintenance of cemeteries under the control of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, and to repeal bylaw number 2021-090 and all other bylaws and resolutions or parts thereof contrary hereto or inconsistent herewith, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. I have a motion. Greg and Ken. All in favor? Thank you. And again, solidifying what we looked at last meeting, a motion that bylaw number 2023-120, being a bylaw to prescribe fees and charges for various planning services provided by the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, and to repeal bylaw number 2023-006 and all other bylaws and resolutions or parts thereof contrary hereto or inconsistent herewith, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. These are the fees for our facilities and all our rec facilities, those kinds of things. Could I have a motion? Ken and Greg. All in favor? Thank you, and that's carried. And I have. This is the same one?
No, the other was planning.
That was oh, sorry, planning. Now we're in Now we're in facilities. Sorry. I have a motion that bylaw number 2023-121, being a bylaw to prescribe fees and charges for various facilities and programs provided by the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, and to repeal bylaw number 2023-005 and all other bylaws and resolutions or parts thereof contrary hereto or inconsistent herewith, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Could I have a motion? Councillor Vincent and a seconder, Ted Collins, all in favor. Thank you, and that is carried. I have a motion that bylaw number 2023-124, being a bylaw to establish a Rosso Memorial Hall Reserve Fund for the Corporation of the Township of Seguin, is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council. Could I have a motion to that effect? Councillor Finson and Councillor Adams, are you seconding it? Okay. So you have a question. Let me just explain a little tiny bit. We've had some community consultation. I've certainly been in discussion with Councillor Vincent and other members of the community that it's time the community started to show us their interest in raising funds for the Memorial Hall upgrade. The money is not necessarily going to fall out of the Seguin Township sky. So we need a place to put any money that they might fundraise. And that's what this is doing, is setting up a place that bake sale, donations, whatever would go and be earmarked for the Memorial Hall. Councillor Bazinski.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with establishing a reserve fund, but what I would like to see, because, you know, the consultant's report on the hall suggested that phase one would cost about $250,000. Phase two would be somewhere between 1 and 2 million, and phase three would be between somewhere in 4 to 5 million. And these are staggering sums, especially when you look at it with what we're going to need for roads and what we're going to need for waste management. So I would really like, as another, as a request, that the consultant study for the Memorial Hall be placed on a future council agenda item, so that council can discuss it and determine if they're in agreement with, the proposed, multi-million-dollar redevelopment of the hall.
Okay, I think that's reasonable, but a question. The consultant's report is not necessarily a recommendation yet. It's a thought starter for community consultation. So those of us that have attended the several sessions have done that. I see Dominique on the screen, but we don't have a recommendation yet. And all this motion today is doing is creating a placeholder really for any money.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the recommendation, provided that we have a full and complete discussion about the hall and the consultant's recommendations and what council feels, in terms of moving forward with it.
Councillor Collins.
I think that the report is the big picture, right? And we were at the hall for the special meeting on the 16th, right? And or the 23rd. Well, I thought it was the 16th anyways, but I could see that there is some work that needs to be done in that hall, especially upstairs and the bathrooms upstairs as well. But I think that's the first phase, and I'm thinking that this is what's going to happen, is that when we finally get down to approving, moving forward with this, is that it'll come in stages, right? Like there'll be stage one, let's do the upstairs and the bath, and then from there. And that's how much money I guess the $250,000 is going to be for. And then we go on from there. If we want to, we do. If we don't, we don't.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Dominique to speak to it a little bit. And it not only is this, what is it called? Reserve fund, a placeholder, but it would be phased in throughout the capital plan once something was approved. We have nothing approved yet, but Dominique, over to you.
Through your worship, for the rest of the council, I just wanted to let you know that on November 20th, the next council meeting, you will have the draft report of the master plan. So what was brought to you before was their presentation, but you'll actually have the draft to look at and to talk about at the next council meeting.
Councillor Bazinski.
It's going to be a busy meeting with that and the road study.
And the budget.
We can consider that. But I also wonder, Dominique, because it's fairly substantial, if it would be useful circulating it to council before the actual council package, so we can look at it before. That would be great if you could get it out to us next week or end of next week.
I will try and get it out as soon as possible. It'll come to me on Monday and then out as quickly as possible to council.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Adams.
Does it actually addressed at that council meeting? Can we not sit down as a council itself and go through the report? Because I don't know, there's some things
have
that
an impact on the budget or not. It might have to.
Yeah.
Your worship, members of council, my suggestion at this point is let us get that final report in our hands. If it's pretty clear cut and pretty straightforward, we'll circulate it with those notes, letting you know that. If you have feedback that you would like to see a further dialogue, what we would present to you on the 20th wouldn't be adopt this recommendation. What we've been trying to follow recently has been, here's the document, let you absorb it, take some time, read it, ask questions. If there's enough questions that justify a further dialogue amongst all of council, then we would undertake that accordingly. But we certainly aren't going to be saying, here it is, please approve it.
Because there's a lot of things we're probably not going to agree on, I would think.
I can't speak for what council's going to think of a report seen yet.
Counselor Vincent?
I would just like to say this isn't new to anybody here renovating the hall. It's not new. I mean, good grief. There's a brand new hall. There's a beautiful hall in Humphrey. There's a brand new hall in Foley. There's a brand new hall in Christie. You can build me a brand new hall, but please understand this has been now at least 6 years. We've been working more than that because it was worked on before I got on council. I didn't begin this. I didn't start this, but we've been talking about this for a long time. So it's not new to anybody that this is coming up. Things cost a lot of money. We will figure out a way to get it done. And I like, there's no way that we should be starting back at square one. We've worked on this really hard. The community deserves to have their memorial hall that was built for the veterans of World War I renovated so that people can use it properly, or build us a new one. Whatever you like to do, that one has to stay because it's now going to be a historical building. It just annoys me that start all over again words keep coming up. Like I just, I don't understand. We've been working on it for at least 9 years now. 9 years.
Counselor Bazinski?
Gail, I don't think anybody's suggesting we start all over. Seriously, but we do as a council have to be responsible to our ratepayers, which means we've got to review the plans. We've got to consider, is this the way to go? And it may be. I'm not saying it's not going to be, but don't get excited yet because we haven't had the discussion. And there's a number of ways to skin the cat if you think about it, because there's, in addition to, we're talking about expenditures of a lot of money here, and it's the question, okay, over what period of time can we do it too? Like we do have to provide roads, we do have to provide waste management. And so I'm not suggesting today we wouldn't approve it. I have no idea, because I'd like to in detail review it once we get the final report and then make comments on it. But we have to be responsible to our taxpayers, and that's why we have to evaluate these things.
And I don't think anybody is saying we won't be responsible. We've got Counselor Getty and then Counselor Adams want to speak to it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I didn't know if you had seen my hand. That was why I just put it on. I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Your explanation, Madam Mayor, was the question that I had. And I think the fact that, if we are going to be taking in public funds, we have to put it in a reserve fund that ensures whoever's contributing it to a specific purpose, that money is within a reserve fund that cannot be moved around and used for anything else. So I know all the discussion is going on, and I agree with all sides of it. I'm not playing Switzerland here, but I think that the issue is we have to ensure the integrity of the process of money coming into the town from people that are looking to move on it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's really all we're talking about today. Last comment on this, Ken?
No, it has nothing to do with doing. The only thing I always had working at the building was the fact that there was no parking. And I think that move being made to put another building there when there could be parking there and rebuild the fire hall. You want to do the hall, you got to have the parking too. That's the only thing. So
yeah, and I guess I want to remind everybody, we have a consultant's report that Dominique has shepherded very well. We've had 2 or 3 community consultations, but we still don't have what I will call a Rosso Community Hall, I don't know, steering committee, decision committee, something committee to absolutely manage this. Because I don't think council wants to say, you need an oven here or a parking lot there. That's not our role. But somebody from within the Rosso community has to get that driving committee going for us to listen to at some point. And yes, there'll be fundraisers, but we need some drivers from the community. And I'll equate it a little bit to how the nursing station came to be. A small group of people said, we really care about this and we're going to drive it. So at some point, it really isn't council. We're not designers. We're not architects. We can't pick and choose which things are more important than others. The community needs to tell us, and then we can look at our capital budgets. So we have a motion on the table for a reserve fund that has no money in it yet till you have a bake sale.
Perfect.
All in favor? Am I done? Council reports. Let's start with you, Ken. Ward 1.
October 16th, after the council meeting.
Sorry.
Whoops. I'll start over again. On October 16th, after the council meeting, I attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting in Prairie Sound. October the 18th, attended the Recreation and Culture meeting. October the 19th, attended the lunch at Foley with the Wasatch First Nation. October the 23rd, attended the special meeting of council in Rossville reviewing the stress plan. October 25th, attended the meeting in Orville to discuss the turkey dinner schedule for December 9th in Orville. October 26th, attended the West Prairie Sound Museum meeting. October 27th, attended the luncheon with Mayor for the businesses in Seguin. This was a great idea. I believe this should become an annual lunch. And I don't have to put this bottom in because we've already discussed it earlier.
Okay. Councilor Bazinski.
Well, I feel badly after Councillor Adams because it sounds like I wasn't doing too much, but I did attend the strategic plan session and I did attend the lunch with Wasauksing First Nation. And I've had numerous phone calls and about roads and waste management in Ward 2. So that's what I've been busy with.
Thank you. Councilor Getty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the 17th of October, I had a Rosso Nursing Station meeting. Just to update the RPN program that was a pilot project. Looks like they are going to receive permanent funding for that, which is a huge benefit. What that allows in the community is people that are not under the care of the nursing station to be able to attend the nursing station for routine blood work. We got blood work, injections, minor dressing, changes of wounds, but it has to be under a doctor's direction. It's not a walk-in clinic for it, but if they have a rec from their doctor, they'll be able to get that work done at the Rosso's nursing station, which is a huge thing. The summer program, they tried a program this year where they were pre-booking some of the walk-in clinic on the Saturday and Sunday. There was some pushback from the community, so they discontinued the pre-booking. And they found that the number of people being treated dropped by 50%. So they will be reviewing that next year to see how they can better coordinate that to try to get maximum coverage from the time that they have staff inside. And Jason and I will be meeting this week in regards to expanding the programs within the Rosso Nursing Station into the community. On the 19th, I also attended the lunch with Wasauksing up in Foley. It was excellent. And October 31st, I attended the Halloween Howl here in Humphrey Township. And I got to tell you, the staff did a great job. It was great to see and volunteers. It was only the lady that was doing the Plinko machine that seemed to be having a little trouble with it. But other than that, everything went well. On November 2nd, I had a couple of hours of online training in regards to the implementation of the new Community Policing Safety Act, which is still moving through the process with the provincial government. And that evening, I also had a CPAC meeting. I can announce that I mentioned earlier that they were running a pilot project with an MCERT program with a mental health and social worker with one member. That has concluded, and as of, they're hoping by the middle of November, they've identified the police officer and the social worker that will be working permanently on the MCERT program for 1 year, and they will be working 5 days a week. full-time, and they will be also doing not only responding calls, but also follow-ups. And I've asked them that for all of the participating municipalities, that we receive a regular update of that report, specific, they have to, there's obviously confidentiality issues, but at least numbers and how successful it is in our community here. So I'll keep you posted with that. In regards to the report that is included in the agenda package today, we've had about a 6.5% increase in billing over the same period from 2022 to 2023. And most of that can be attributed to an increase in violent crime. Unfortunately, we've had an increase in sexual assault and sexual interference cases in the municipality, as well as assaults and threatening. So they are monitoring that for us, and I'll report back on the next meeting where we are with that. Thank you. Oh, and just it's not in regards to my report, but I noticed in the rec committee report to council that it indicated that Tony Hawkrid would be stepping down and Ryan Wilson would be taking over the Classic Cruise. After a bit of discussion, Ryan is going to not be taking it over. Tony is going to continue. The committee will stand the way it is, and Ryan will be a participant and contributor to it. So thank you.
Councillor Fellner, do you have a report?
Thank you, Mayor. I attended as well. I attended both lunches since the last meeting. Both were excellent. Particularly enjoyed the one with the Wissahickon, and the business one was very good as well. I attended the council meeting for the Strat Plan up in Rosso. And I did one other thing that I can't remember right now. Ken did. As well, rec committee meeting. I attended the rec committee meeting, and I also attended the Christmas turkey dinner meeting up in Orville. Significant progress is being made on that event. And as well, we've been I had a meeting with Dominique and Ken in Parks and Rec, and last week we were able to get a significant amount accomplished on the Seguin Trail, pretty much from Orville all the way back to Tim Hortons is in really good, the best shape it's been in 20 years. Try to get some things tidied up before the winter sets in. That's about all I have to report.
Thank you. Councillor Collins.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll make this short and sweet. I had a meeting with the First Nations, Wisconsin natives. It was a great meeting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We really got to know their chief and their council members, and we should do another one, I think. Not just one, but let's keep that rolling. I attended the special meeting on October 23rd, the strategic plan meeting, and the business meeting as well with our mayor. So that's it for me.
Yeah.
I attended a recreation committee meeting on the 18th. Lunch at Wissahickon First Nation with the chief and council, which was lovely. It was really worthwhile. I enjoyed it very much. The special strat plan meeting on the 23rd, Belvedere Heights meeting on the 23rd, Belvedere Heights meeting on the 25th. I attended the turkey dinner meeting. I'll be doing the volunteer coordination. So if anybody'd like to volunteer for the turkey dinner, you can give me a call and I'll put you on the list. It's going really well. We have a chef in charge of the kitchen. It's really it's going to be really good. I'm excited for it. I attended the mayor's lunch at the Log Cabin Inn. I volunteered and was at the Halloween. Is it Howl? Was it Howl? Haunt. No, it's not Haunt this year. It was something else because I kept calling it the wrong thing. And it was fantastic. It really well attended. The games were spectacular. The kids had lots of fun. I picked a game, Plinko, which I thought I wouldn't have to do too much. Well, I was bent over the whole time. I was thinking I should have had a pumpkin on my behind. But anyway, I attended the Belvedere Heights Annual Information Meeting, which was very informative. All the things they've accomplished in the last few years, and the partnerships with the hospital and Lakeland is pretty incredible how far they've come in the last, I would say, 8 years. I attended a hospital meeting on the 30th by Zoom, and it was the first one I'd attended. I really didn't know how theirs ran. It was a very good meeting. I attended the Russell Village music event on Saturday, and Lynn Hansen, she was lovely. Actually, the singer that sang with her, can't remember his name, but he had a beautiful voice and played a really lovely guitar. That was the hospital, and that's all. I think that's all of the meetings I attended, and it's been busy, but wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks very much. It is busy. I will skip some of these that many of you have already mentioned. October 17th was the CBDC breakfast for a small business week at the Stocky Center. And it was very well attended, and good networking with our FedNor rep, who was there handing out some money to others. The 19th, we had the Wisconsin Council lunch. That evening was the pool fundraising meeting. And I do want to remind all of you about the Winter Sound Waves concert coming up on the 17th of December. The tickets are on sale at the Stocky Center website now. I encourage you to buy them because they are selling quickly. It's a major fundraiser. It's music for the community, by the community, in the community. I don't know if any of you have children participating, but both elementary schools, the high school band, everybody will be in performing. We've got a magician, Santa Claus is coming. We've got pictures with Santa Claus, and we have some pretty well-known people, the Perry Sound Singers, Chameleon Jazz, Carolyn Mall will be singing and playing. So it's a big event, and Carling Rocks looks like it's taking off for August, which will be a 2-day rock concert, again in support of the pool in Carling, with buses from Killbear, Perry Sound. The afternoons will be family-oriented, and it'll move more into young adults and real adults in the evening. October 20th, I attended the Pizza John Kerr retirement event, which was very well attended, and he will be missed here. We had a special council meeting on the 23rd. The 26th, I attended the EMS Advisory Committee, and it was a long meeting because we only meet twice a year, and there is a fair amount of new news. Perry Sound is now going to hold its own dispatch for our EMS vehicles, which is a huge improvement. And it's being funded by the Minister of Health. It'll likely take 90 days to transition to it. So it'll likely be in 2024. But what it will mean is that out of the Perry Sound Hospital, which is where the hub is, our EMS vehicles will stay in our area and be directed within our area. Before, they could have been directed from Barrie or North Bay. It's a big, huge improvement. But EMS is also, like everybody else, short-staffed. So if anybody wants a job, tell them to become a paramedic. The mayor's lunch was the first of its kind in this community, and it was well attended at the log cabin. And I've had several people say, I would have attended, but you picked the wrong time of year. People getting snow tires on, and marinas putting boats up and that kind of thing. So maybe we look at moving when we hold it. I had a meeting with Stephanie to review her library strat plan. I also attended the West Perry Sound Health Center update meeting that Gail mentioned. They happen twice a year, and they usually are very informative. Again, by Zoom. We had an airport commission on the 31st. Halloween was a busy day. And we had a West Perry Sound Economic Development Board meeting where we received the consultant report, kind of the final report. You will see some of that on the agenda for the next meeting because we have some decisions to make. We no longer get FedNor funding. And the Halloween Howl was lots of fun, except for some of the little ones that were too scared. But they were in tears. So I guess we achieved scary if they were in tears. And Jason and I had a very brief and not terribly productive meeting with the Housing Accelerator Fund representative from the federal government. They have our name, we have a name, is about the biggest outcome of that meeting. And then on the second, last week, we had a business committee meeting to kind of debrief on the lunch and set the budget for next year and the projects. They're a busy committee. And I also attended the Belvedere Heights information, I guess it was called Information and AGM. For anybody that hasn't attended those, they're full of information. And that's my list. So I'm jealous, Mario. My list.
That's why you're the mayor.
Thank you, Worship. I'll be brief as well, but I just want to remind everyone about the upcoming Remembrance Day ceremonies around the community, whether it be Friday, Saturday, this coming weekend. The other thing, as we move through Remembrance Day, the next, of course, big item is holiday season's just around the corner. The township has launched its annual holiday food drive. Last year, we dropped off literally a truckload of bags of non-perishable food items to support Harvest Share. We encourage everyone to contribute what they can so that this year our donation is even larger. Bins have been distributed at our community centers and in the municipal offices here. The Seguin community is involved in several upcoming holiday celebrations. The township will be represented at this year's Santa Claus Parade in Perry Sound on November 25th. The annual Santa Skate is happening at the Humphrey Arena on December 10th. Staff is also supporting events led by the Recreation and Culture Committee, including the Christmas Market in Orville on December 2nd and the Kids Christmas Party in Orville on December 16th. The community services team will soon be receiving a new piece of equipment that will help them to recreate the Humphrey Ice Loop that was enjoyed by the community in 2021. So crews will get started on that project, of course, as soon as Mother Nature decides that she would like to cooperate. And I know it's still a little ways out, but it's always exciting to start thinking about the annual Seguin Sled Dog Mail Run. That'll take place on February 24th in 2024. So stay tuned. We'll have lots of new information and ways that local businesses and volunteers can get involved. And staff is currently working to deepen our community engagement with a volunteer recruitment campaign that will launch in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for more opportunities to engage in building our wonderful community. That's it for me, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. It's busy. So thank you to everybody that does volunteer throughout the community. If you're listening online, volunteers make this community what it is. So I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby receive the board and committee minutes and agendas and the correspondence as presented on the agenda and the addendum for the November 6th, 2023 meeting of council. Could I have a motion? Ken and Mario? All in favor? Moving closed. Yes. And I have a motion that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Seguin does hereby proceed to a closed meeting at 4:37 p.m. in order to address matters pertaining to a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on by or on behalf of the municipality. And that's the Boundary Road proposal and the ministerial zoning order lands. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, and that's some human resources matters, and labor relations or employee negotiations related to human resources matters. Could I have a motion to move into closed? Ken and Mario. All in favor, first of all? Do people want to take a quick break? I have a motion that the council of the corporation of the township of Seguin does hereby rise from the closed meeting and declare a regular meeting reconvened at 5:56 PM. I have a motion, Ken and Greg. All in favor? That's carried. I have a motion that bylaw. Do we want to do that before we talk about the time of the meeting?
But if you're gonna change that.
Okay, do you want to bring up the time of the meeting now?
Since we'll be discussing the budget on November 20th, I think that we should start our meeting earlier than 2:30 in the afternoon, and I suggest starting at 11 in the morning, and maybe have some lunch and keep going until we're finished. Is that okay with everybody? I'm in.
Okay, I'm in, but driving up from Toronto after an 8:30 medical appointment, so somebody else might have to kick off the meeting till I get here.
Terry.
No, you're the deputy.
It changed.
Noon would be easier for me.
All right. Okay, noon's fine.
Yeah, because we're not really.
Yep.
We're not gonna discuss the
Noon.
budget. Gonna be-
She's driving an Audi. I mean, she should be here by 11.
I obey all traffic laws. Noon on the 20th of November with lunch, sandwich lunch provided? You don't think so? Oh. Yeah, I mean, just send somebody to Subway or something.
I'm sure it's not supposed to.
No, but Jason, the first meeting in December is not on the 6th. Yes. Okay. Oh, did you get it again? You on with Lisa Cook? Oh, okay. So I now have a bylaw number 2023-125, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of meetings of council is hereby deemed to have been read a first, second, and third time and passed by council, Mario and Ken. All in favor? Thank you. Motion that the council of the corporation of the township of Seguin does hereby adjourn this regular meeting at 5:59 PM to meet again on Monday, November 20th at 12 noon or at the call of the mayor. Gail's moving it.
I'll move it.
Okay, and Terry will second it. All in favor? Thank you. Have a great holiday, sir.
Thank you. Nice job.